This video aims to go through the basics of decimals, and it helps you to understand what a digit in each of the columns of the decimal columns means. So let's cast our minds back to when we were doing hundreds, tens and units absolutely ages ago. Our blue one here was hundreds, and then we had the green, which was tens, and the yellow one was units. Okay. I'm going to try and focus in on this unit here. Let's forget the hundreds and the tens. Let's just focus in on the unit. It's a cube. Now, if we were to cut that up into decimals, it would become too small to handle. So what I'm going to do is transfer it into being one of these. This great big red one, we're now going to call a unit, and we're going to chop one of those up. So here we go. This is now a unit. And if we cut it into 10 slices, each one would be called a tenth. Notice that we use a little t, not a capital. We need a decimal point here because of the fact that we've got items that are worth less than 1 unit. So if we were to write down this amount here, we have got 1 unit and we've got 1/10 with a decimal point in the middle, and that's 1.1. Moving on again. In this picture, we've cut our unit into 10 tenths. We've cut our tenth into 10 pieces again. So each one of these is 1/100th of the large red one. So we can do that as fractions. We can also say this is 1/10 and this is 1/100th. And some schools prefer to have that as your headings rather than the T and the H. There's our decimal point. So if we were to show our number here, it would be 1.11. 1 unit, 1/10 and 1/100th. Moving on again, here we've got our unit, our decimal point, our tenth, our 100th, and if we cut that 100th into 10 pieces, each little bit would be called a 1,000th, and that's represented by this tiny little cube here. So here we've got 1.111. All ones, but each of the ones are worth something different. This one here is 1 unit, this one here is a tenth of a unit, this one here is a 100th of a unit, this one here is a 1,000th of a unit. And we can go let's go one step further. We could go on forever, but one step further will be enough. And here what I've done is start with my unit. This is the unit. Decimal point, we've got a tenth, a 100th, a 1,000th, and then dividing by 10 again. This bit is the tenths of thousands. Writing it as fractions, you have got 1/10, 100th, notice we're adding a 0 on the bottom each time, 1,000th, and 1/10 of thousandth there. So this number altogether would be 1.1111. Now it's very rare to get a 1 in each of the columns, so let's have a look at another example where there's a different amount in each. How about this one here? Okay, these are our 2 wholes, or our 2 units. So in our units column, we would have a 2. This is our tenths column. In our tenths column, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our hundredths column, so we would have 1/100th. In our thousandths column, we've got 4 thousandths. In our tenths of thousandths, we have got 1. We need to put our decimal point in here. So the way that we would say this number is 2.4141. 2 units, 4 tenths, 1/100th, 4 thousandths, and 1/10 of thousandths. So that's how you break down decimals. Notice every time you move one column to the right, everything becomes 10 times smaller. Every time you move one column to the left, everything gets 10 times bigger.